Today we're going to look at a great useful interval called sixths, and this is what you'd get if you combine the first note of a major scale with the sixth note of a major scale. If you keep that spacing going through the scale, you can play a scale in sixths. And this is a very popular sound, and you might be familiar with it from songs like Brown Eyed Girl or blues turnarounds like this. Something like that. That little walk down is made up of sixths, so this is just a very commonly used sound. It's one of the most consonant sounding intervals along with thirds. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the different patterns in the key of G major, and we're going to do a couple of exercises that will allow you to practice this in a musical way rather than just running the scale in sixths up and down, so it's not so dry, and so that you can hopefully glean some ideas to apply to your soloing and your chord playing, because this is a great way to travel between chords, or it's a great way to add some harmony onto a melody that you're playing. So let's jump in and take a look at some of the ways that we can practice these great sounding patterns. So we're going to look at the key of G, and we're going to start here. Take just a regular old G bar chord, type 1. Take the first string and the third string, and we've got a sixth. Now I'm going to think about this and speak about it as a 1 chord, because to me this is the sixth that goes along with that G major chord. 1 chord in the key of G. So if you know your interval names, you'll know that this is actually a minor sixth, and that would be a little confusing for me to refer to it as such, because we're playing over the 1 chord of a major key, which is a major chord. So I'm just going to refer to this as the 1. We've got the 2, and I'm going to call this shape 1 and 2. Shape 1 has the fingers separated by a fret. I'm on 3rd string, 4th string. Shape 2 has the fingers on the same fret. Again, 1st and 3rd string. Here I'm on the 5th fret on both. And so as I go up, I'm going to use the most expedient fingerings that make it the easiest to play. So I'm going to go from here with, I've got my 1st and 2nd finger playing that, and then I'm going to use my 3rd and 4th finger to go up from there. On this shape, my 3rd is the same as the 2nd. My 4th is the same shape as I started with down here, but now I'm up at C, 8th fret on the 1st string, and E, the 9th fret on the 3rd string. Then we get to slide this same shape up again. So we've got the what I think of as the D shape, or the 5 chord here, and then we've got the 6th, which is on the 12th fret. I'm using my 3rd and 4th finger again. So I've got 12th fret, 12th fret. For the 6th position here, 7th is going to be the same exact shape, just moved up a whole step. Now I'm on the 14th fret, and then if I go one more, I'm an octave up from where I started, so I'm back at the 1. So if I go through that in typical classic scale fashion, I could just go like this. And that's a good way to get familiar with these shapes if you're new to them. You always want to go up and back down. You get used to those changes. The way we're going to practice these, however, is to do something a little more interesting. We're going to do a bit of a chicken picking kind of pattern. When you do it slow, it doesn't really sound like it, but if you speed it up, as you get better at it, you can make some really nice hot licks sounding kind of country guitar stuff with it. And it doesn't have to be that. You can change the way it sounds. You can even use this over really any style, but the way that I'm going to kind of approach it today is kind of from that country hot licks kind of style. So it's going to be, for me, I'm going to be hybrid picking. So I'm going to be using my pick and my middle finger. You can also do this with just your pick by alternating between the first string and the third string. And we've got this pattern here that's going to go third string, first string. So I just pluck third string, first string, and then third string again. And then here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide in or hammer on. In this case, I'm going to slide using these middle two fingers for the second position. So I'm going to go, when I slide up, I'm going to hit that first string again. And then hit the third string again and do my slide to the third position. And that's one, or part one of the exercise. So the way I would count this is 1, 1, E, and 2, E, and so it's kind of a 2-beat cycle. 1, E, and 2, E, and then I'm going to repeat the pattern, but this time instead of starting here, I'm just going to start it where I'm at here. So I'm going to repeat this position. To make another 2-beat pattern. So here I have and that's the first half of the exercise. From there, I'm just going to do the same thing again, just starting here at the 5th position. And then for the last quarter, just going to hit that octave up from the root and just hold it. So the last 2 beats are just held out. So this is really a 2-bar pattern in total. So it goes like this, real slow. When you speed that up, it starts to sound pretty cool, especially if you do a little bit of muting. So if you use your palm, this area of your palm, to mute the 3rd string, so it has that real kind of clucky, choked out sound. So it's a very short note, and then I combine that with a more open 1st string. So I'm just positioning my hand so that I'm muting that 3rd string close to the bridge over here. So that's going to give me the closer or on top of the bridge I have more of the note sounding out versus if I came way over here. I really don't get any of the note, but if I pull it back, you can play with this. I can really hear the sound of the note. The pitch is still there, it's just kind of choked, so that's what I'm going for. And I'm not wanting to really mute the 1st string, so I have my hand at an angle like this. You can play around with it if you like the sound of this. So here it is a little bit faster. There's a lot of patterns you can do that are similar to this. And you can add some chromatics in between some of these, so I'll show you that now. Going between the 2nd and the 3rd is a very common chromatic that you can use. Between the 4th and the 5th. Between the 6th and the 7th. Really, any of those spots where you have 2 in a row that are the same shape. Those are all nice places to add a chromatic. So, meaning adding the in-between, just sliding half step between them. So those are a couple of ideas of ways that you can use these. And I'm going to show you one more thing to practice. And then we're going to look at the other string sets and then the vertical way to play this in the open position. So we've got a couple more places to go, but first I want to show you another exercise. And I'm not going to go through both of these exercises on all the string sets. I just wanted to show you them on the first string set first so you could see, some applications that sound cool and are more fun to practice than just the straight scales. But I will show you the patterns on each string set, and then you can apply these practicing ideas to those string sets as well if you like. So the other practice idea is to make a little coil out of them. This sounds a lot like the intro to Brown Eyed Girl, at least the first little bit of it. But I'm just going to hold on the 1, and I'm going to go up to the 3, back to 1. So 1, 3, 2, 1. So I've created a little motif there. Motif is just a small musical idea, and you can repeat that motif by going to the second and then going 4, 3, 2. So I've repeated the same motif. I'm going to do that motif through the whole pattern here. 3, 5, 4, 3, 4, 6, 5, 4, 5, 7, 6, 5. And stop saying the names. Stop at the octave. So that's another way that you can practice these. Give you some musical sounding ideas to make your practice sound more musical. Sorry to use that word so much, but I think that's a very important word because I think of certain practice techniques just when you're just doing something like this, it doesn't sound like it's really music. It's really kind of more a mechanically technical exercise, but when you add some flair, some rhythm, and some different motific ideas. Whoops. Like that, it sounds like something that could be in a song. Of course, you probably wouldn't do it through the entire scale in a song, but you would use maybe a fragment of that, and I think it just is a much more interesting way to practice. So those are the different ideas we got. I didn't show that one, but you could do it backwards, of course. So, and then we've got this one. And you could, of course, do that one backwards too, going from 1, 6, 7, 1. And doing these exercises is going to really increase your fluency with these sixth patterns, and that's the whole goal here. So moving on, we're going to try to fairly quickly get through the other string sets. So the second string and the fourth string, we're going to start with the open second and fourth string. And these ones are the same finger placements as the first and third strings, but we're going to be starting on a different one. If we started on the 1, this is where it would be, up here. The G at the 8th fret of the second string, with B at the 9th fret of the 4th string. But we're going to start from the open. So we're just going to go from here. And this I think of as the 3. It's kind of the same as 1, 2, 3. So we've got that, and then we've got this shape. 2nd fret and 1st fret. 2nd fret, 4th string, 1st fret, 2nd string. We slide that up. Then we got the shape where we have them both on the same fret. We slide that up. And we have our 1. We have 2nd and 3rd. And you could apply the exercises we did before. And of course, you could do it backwards, but that is that string set. And we've got this string set. So now we've got some new shapes that are different from what we did on these 2 string sets. We've got them just 1 fret spread out from each other. So we've got, with our open shape, this will be what I'm calling the 1 first shape. It's B on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and now open G. 3rd string open. So these 2 notes are separated by 2 frets, and then we're going to just go to the next one, which is the same finger position as we did for the major up here, and, well, major, or shape 1 up here. But here it's going to be shape 2. We've got here, there, slide this up, So again, I can apply either of those practice patterns. I'm not going to do both of them, so I think you get the idea. But we're going to move down finally to the 6th string, and this one, honestly, doesn't sound the best to me. I would use it sometimes, but not nearly as often as the other ones because these strings are really big. They get a little muddy sounding. So I'm going to start down here, and this is kind of the 5th scale degree. The D and F sharp, open D, F sharp on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. That's my shape, my first shape. 2nd shape there, and I think if this is the 5th, 6th, 7th, this would be the 1, because that's my B and G. So from here I go from my shape 1 to shape 2 on the 2nd position. 3rd position would be same shape. fourth position would be back to the one from here. My finger's 2 frets apart. That's the same one I started on. So if I was practicing this one with the pattern we did earlier, I would in some way just want to resolve back to here because I don't like to just leave it hanging. You could just leave it hanging on that 5. And then resolve like that. That would be a good way to do it. But it doesn't really matter. Just however you like to do it to create a good exercise. The final thing we're going to look at is just the vertical dimension here, going through the different string sets using this full chord scale with intervals. So we're going to start here where we started our first pattern off. Got shape 1. We've got this one, just going back down from there. And then we're at the open 1st and 3rd strings. And then we'll be here, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 4th fret, 4th string. Move that down a whole step. And play open 2nd and 4th string. Oops. Here we're on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Now we've gone down a whole octave. Let's do that one more time. From there, we'll go down to the 4th and 6th strings and back up. So if I do a whole pattern here, so that's using the vertical dimension. Versus the horizontal dimension, or the horizontal plane, vertical plane. These are different words I use for the same thing. Vertical going across the strings, horizontal coming this way. That's all for practice time for now. Thanks for your attention. That's going to be it for today. The visuals that were on the screen are available for free. Download at practicemakesbettermusic.com. There'll be a link in the YouTube description if that's where you're watching. And until next time, practice hard and remember to enjoy the journey, and I'll see you in the next lesson.